Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Kelly. I'm 25 years old. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and I've been powerlifting for a little under 2 years. And before that, I was bodybuilding. Competed in a natural bodybuilding show. And that was probably when I was about 20 to 21, and then a little bit of bodybuilding after that, and now just powerlifting. So I'll just jump right into the questions. I define de novo culture in two separate ways. I have the first way is just like de novo business culture is what I would call it, and that's just kind of it's exactly how you guys have it written in your red blocks. It's progression, genuine, authentic, and I say that because it's completely opposite of what the supplement industry actually is. Like, I'll give you an example. I went to the Olympia with my wife, and like the main reason I went there was to just kind of like meet Lane Norton, because he was my coach for when I did the bodybuilding show back in 2013-ish. And just like walking around the expo, it's just like you see these supplement companies and they're just like, you know, they got like the girls in the booty shorts and they're just kind of like chucking supplements out to like crowds of people, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's not really the right word for it, but to me it's just kind of like cheap. It's just kind of, that's not the right word for it, but it just kind of, it just feels fake, you know? And like, that's not what you guys are about. So that's like the main, that's like the business part of it that I relate to. And then, and then the second part of that I would relate to is back even further, and that's from Ryan's video logs. Exiting homeostasis, grind that shit. Like all those video logs that I watched back when, you know, I was like 20, 21, they played like to me, that was the beginning of de novo culture. It played for me personally, it played a pretty big role in just kind of like my mindset, and just kind of like as I came into the sport, but also applied like the stuff that those video logs said, not just to like, you know, being a better powerlifter, being a better bodybuilder, but to just being a better person in life, you know, like working harder and just having that kind of like, I would say, like just de novo, like outwork, even though it's not, you know, that kind of like mentality. So yeah, like it, for me, it just kind of, it really shaped who I am today, I think, just like those early video logs, and yeah, just like kind of that culture. And I feel like that's really transitioned into like what de novo is today. And you're kind of, in your podcast, like that's a really good example of just sort of like the deeper concepts that you guys are talking about. It kind of just reminds me of those video logs. And yeah. Okay, next question. The athletic qualities. I guess my main athletic quality is, it's obvious. You know, I'm a competitive powerlifter in the 105 kg class. I don't have any super impressive numbers or anything right now, but I'm currently working with Dr. Zordos. He's my coach, and I don't know. I feel like I have a good chance to be competitive, at least in Canada, anyway. And that's like that's one of the obvious ones. But the next one that I think is kind of like better is I didn't just like get into powerlifting and bodybuilding at age like 20, and I never done anything before. I basically got into the sport because like I almost like needed to. Like I played hockey from age, can't even remember, till I was like 20, and I played very competitive. And when you do something so competitive for so long, and especially in hockey, it's like, you know, you play multiple games per week, practice every day, it's like literally life. And for that to all of a sudden, you know, you get to a point where you're just not good enough to continue in that sport because it's just so competitive. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, go about your 9-to-5 job, and that's it. And for me, that was just kind of like like I was just like, whoa, you know, it kind of like killed me. I couldn't imagine it. So I found the sport of bodybuilding, powerlifting, and yeah, like I was basically, how I was going with that was just kind of that like background in sports for like such a long time, being competitive for so long. It just kind of, I think it just makes you a tougher person, like mentally, physically. You can just kind of, like, you're not afraid to take on any tasks, kind of thing. And so Yeah, so that's pretty much it on that one. Just being a competitive athlete for so long, I think it just makes you a different person than somebody who wasn't a competitive athlete their whole life. And not to say that someone who wasn't competitive their whole life is like less good at anything, but I just think it just kind of gives you a certain outlook on things, and yeah, you're just not worried to take on anything. Okay, next question. Okay, what can de novo do better in short term and long term? So this is a tough question for me because, you know, you're kind of like almost trying to anticipate what way, you know, does de novo want to go? How do they want to get better? But in the short term, I think you guys are always you're doing really good. Like, you're doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. The podcast was like probably the best thing you guys decided to do most recently. And I just think continuing on that, on that road, you know, maybe some more YouTube videos. Just, I'm a big fan of training logs. Like, I like to watch Layne Norton's training videos and stuff like that. So I think, you know, maybe just more content, seeing you guys lift and that kind of thing, and maybe like a Periscope or something. I think people are getting into that, so that's kind of cool. And I think that just kind of, you know, just more content for people to look at. And long term is kind of, you know, long term for me just gets helped by short term, just continually doing those things, putting out good content, and all that kind of stuff, keeping the podcast going. I think that's just going to grow the de novo family, and that's better for everybody. And but just an idea, like long term, that I think it's just an idea that something that I really like is I kind of like the idea of maybe like a website where there's like a forum and stuff like that, where other people in the de novo family can just kind of like interact, and maybe it just puts an easier way to interact with you guys. Someone who does this really well is Mike Teixeira from RTS. I was a member of the RTS classroom, so I got to see Ben lecture on nutrition a couple times. And I don't know, I really like that website. I really like the idea behind it, and I think you know, something similar could be adopted long term with de novo, and I think it's just you know, a good way to connect with de novo family and help it grow. Product questions. My favorite product is the taupe. I really like it. It tastes delicious, and it's sort of the first product that I've ever taken that was kind of like had like the, you know, the mental focus to it. And I feel like, I mean, I couldn't tell you if other supplement companies had done it first. I'm not too sure, but you guys are the first ones that I've heard of anyway. And yeah, I think it was really cool. I really liked it. And I use your guys' products because it's you guys. Like, I've connected with, you know, like you guys have. I have connected with you guys personally. Like, you know, like I haven't talked to you necessarily, but like just the message that you guys have, it connected with me personally.